On this drive, I'm going to test this program called Navigator, and I've set these up previously.
Take sharp left.
Took me a while to do it. Let's see which way it's going to take me. So it's going to take me along there, and okay, well, that's looking pretty reasonable. Okay, so we'll start off and do what it says. So this is the Navigator program. When I first opened it up, it felt a little bit ugly. Sorry, but it didn't appeal to me. It's too crowded, too much going on. I like something a little bit clearer.
Recalculating the route.
So decided to give it a go. It's using the OpenStreetMap data as per Organic Maps and Magic Earth, and I thought it would be good to test one more program. There's other programs out there.
Turn left and then carry on straight ahead.
So I thought I'd give this one a go as well. So Organic Maps was okay, but it is actually quite clear. I liked how clear the information was. It got rid of all the clutter. Navigator on the hand, and Magic Earth was pretty good as well. But Navigator, a lot of clutter, and it is a commercial, and basically you install the apps and it wants to try to sell you things. Not sure if this car's going to turn in or not. It hasn't got its indicator going. That was just letting me out. Okay. Anyway, so now we'll do what Navigator tells us to do, and after this I think I've probably done enough of the ones using OpenStreetMaps. Not sure if there's others that I will test or do. In fact, there is one more that I want to do, and that's Apple Maps. Actually, I've not done Apple Maps. I have an Apple phone for development and test purposes, and I never really thought to actually use it for
Turn right in 200 meters.
For navigation. I like the way it said turn right and then paused. I'm thinking it wants to send me right there, but it said 200 meters. Now this is good. It's got the speed limit on there. Down the bottom it does have the current speed, but it is very small, which is okay, but the speed limit's at a good size there. So I'm more interested in the speed limit than but I'm happy if it shows me both, because I like to use the GPS because it's closer to the actual speed limit than my Speedo. I don't have to make allowances for the Speedo being out by design. So there is a fixed speed camera here. I think it told us that.
Turn right.
But I can't remember, but I'll look back over the video and see. So the instructions to turn right, it's quite clear. First of all, installing Navigator was not too difficult. It's just an app, you just select it. Downloading the maps, they have Australia, and then they have sub-maps for parts. Now I believe, yep, okay, so I installed, I think, Victoria and Tasmania together. I'm not sure what else is there, but certainly Victoria and Tasmania. About 250 odd megabytes of data, and when I installed it, every time the screensaver came on, it would fail and cause me grief. So eventually I just had to sit there and keep the screen open. In fact, what I ended up doing was to do a split screen on the Android, which is possible to do, and that allowed me to continue browsing the web whilst I had.
Bear right in 400 meters.
Now notice how it says bear right in 400 metres. There's no reason to bear right, and the OpenStreetMaps data, I've gone back and checked the Open Organic Maps, which I used recently on the same route, basically said up here at New Street, it thought I wanted to go into the right turn lane. It then did, there's a little strip of road that joins this intersection to the road over at the side there, and so it said go right and then turn left quickly and then turn right again in the middle of the intersection. So interesting to see if it's doing the same here for that. Now I'm not sure what the speed it said there was.
Bear right.
Yep, see, bear right. I think it's going to do the same thing. So in actual fact,
Carry on straight ahead in 400 meters.
so now it's saying carry on straight ahead. So it didn't screw up like Organic Maps did, which was interesting. I'm just wondering if it was a previous one. So now the speed limit is off there. Okay, now the speed limits here. This actual application uses free version uses OpenStreetMaps, and the paid version uses TomTom Maps. So I won't be comparing the paid version because basically I don't want to pay for it. But so I'm just comparing the free versions. It did ask me if I wanted to use the online search to find addresses, and so that's one thing that I had quite, because when you pick up these apps you want to be able to use them straight away. I mean, we're all impatient, and I'm just as bad as anybody else in that respect. So, but really it's just like a program, you have to learn how it works, and that can take some time. So I wanted to find out how to go from Eastland back to Horton Street in Templestowe, a street close to where I live, and I found that it was quite
Carry on straight ahead.
quite difficult to work out how to put your locations in. So my first attempt was to actually go to the location I was going to and basically mark that and then say the route to that location. Anyway, in the end, what I did do and found worked is to set up the two locations, Eastland and Horton Street, as favourites, and then I was able to a lot of smoke coming from that car. Then I was able to get it to do that route, which is what I just did then. Selected where I am, or where I currently am, which was at Eastland, and then said go to Horton Street, and so it's now 80 along this section of road. Now OpenStreetMaps doesn't have all of the details in here for the school zone. I believe it's school holidays at the moment, and you can see that the flashing speed sign which has got a red annulus or circle around the speed is currently off, so that means it's 80 here and it's not school time. And as I've said previously, I often have no idea when schools are in or out, because I'm retired and don't have children that I need to know that detail anymore. So anyway, it's coming along fine here at 80 kilometres an hour. Up here it changes to 70, and we'll see if it changes okay then. Not sure. Now it did say new limit there, interestingly, so I think it's actually reduced the school limit down to 40. So it previously might have been 60. I'd have to check my previous videos. So that area there and I'll have to even look at my own speed limits. So that's interesting. Didn't pick that up, the new limit, but just noticed, hey, they've got that there for a reason. Must pay attention.
Turn right in 500 meters.
So now it's currently 70. Oops. I believe, okay, not this one. Okay, it's dropped down to 70 now.
Turn right.
Now what's interesting, I usually say, it said turn right in 500 metres, and frankly, I don't know about you, but when I've talked about distances to people, most people couldn't tell you 500 metres from 200 metres in terms of distance. It's somewhere out there, and I always thought I was pretty good at working out distances, but really, if you ask people to estimate 500 metres, they have to relate it to something they know. They're not, they just, it's somewhere out there. So yeah, there's a normal turn off I take up there, that side street through there. I think it's called Doncaster Road or something, Doncaster East Road or something. Not sure what the name of it is, but so my instinct was to go up that street, but I did just quickly glance at the map, and saw that my little red arrow wasn't quite where it was telling me to turn down the purple road, so I hadn't quite reached the location. So I do say that I don't use the map, but and I'm not fussed, so I could just have audio instructions. But the reality is I probably use it a little bit more than what I think I do. So now it's saying it's saying something about black. It's got writing along the bottom there. It's I think it's okay, but it's a bit of a distraction. It's updated this road to be 60, or to show 60 as the speed limit, which we were previously on 70. So is this the speed limit? I haven't seen a speed sign. The way this works is that actually sections of road are marked as having a certain speed limit, but in OpenStreet Maps I've actually found those to be sometimes quite inaccurate, as in it starts back there. Who knows on the other side of that intersection what the speed was, and the speed doesn't change until you hit the speed sign. But if you go through OpenStreet Maps, people usually change the speeds at the intersections. So here we have now the speed limit sign, and so we have, yes, it's not a smart move. But anyway, so that's the accuracy of OpenStreet Maps. Now, generally 50, 100 metres, if it's one speed limit or the other, for most of us it wouldn't matter. We turn into a street 50 to, in fact the guidelines I think is within 50 to 250 metres there should be a speed sign at a major intersection. So you may not know the speed of the street you're in for quite some time. So 50 metres isn't that big a deal. I mean, by the time you turn around and speed up, as long as you're not flooring it, or have a hypercar or something that can go some ridiculous speed, then you'll just speed up in due course in normal form of driving. comes back on. It's gone off the 70. It's 70 along this strip of road. Now the reason these applications aren't great is because this section of road may or may not have a speed limit on it. Now it's been picked up, so there's probably, if I went in and examined the OpenStreetMaps, you'll find that there's a section back there that doesn't have the speed limit defined. So, and then it's defined now. So now anybody can go in and update that. In fact, I went in the other day, did their tutorial, and updated 3 pieces of information: 2 speed limits, and the fact that one of the roads was set to 40 at part of Foot Street, set to 40 with 1 lane, and Foot Street is a 70km/h road, and at that point there are actually 2 lanes going straight ahead. So I made it 2 lanes, but in actual fact the whole intersection has been updated, and there's 2 lanes going right plus a bus lane. So there's more than just the, and certainly not 1 lane. So I just changed that from 1 to 2, and to 70km/h, which was the speed limit for the street. So, and there was another on Foot Street, another little link that when you did a U-turn, and I noticed it went from 70 flashed to 60, and then changed back to 70 once I'd completed the U-turn. That little piece of road was set to 60. In actual fact, it didn't have a speed, so I selected the max speed of 70 to make it consistent. Now, you wouldn't do 70 on a U-turn, but there's no reason for, when you're on the one road doing a U-turn, for it to be flashing one speed, another speed, and back to the same speed. So I thought, for consistency. So I've checked. So basically the data this uses. Now what's interesting here is I've noticed that it's got lanes for going straight ahead and a right turn lane. 70 straight ahead, and the number of lanes there corresponds. So that's pretty good. I mean, I really am impressed with the work that's gone into some of these applications. Now there is a speed limit, I think, down in that bottom right hand corner, but I can't see it. It's too small. It does have the option of making the panels bigger, so which I'm not going to do at this point in time, and I might leave that as an exercise for my avid viewers. Okay, you'll probably never do it either, but anyway, that's something you can check out and see whether it makes a difference or not. So overall, this is actually doing quite well. When I said at the start, it looked a bit ugly, a bit crowded, a bit too much information on the map. Maybe there's a different template you can use or something like that. And overall, but since I'm not really looking at that, I'm just looking at the route that I'm going, looking at the information that I need. It's not bothering me. So, ugly or not, it probably doesn't matter. As long as it functions and does what I want. Now, unfortunately, I'm not going to be speeding, so I don't know what sort of noise it will make if I do speed. And in fact, I won't even know if it's what it tells me to do, because it's just not my intention to speed. Again, I'll leave that up to you to try. Let me know what you think is the alert. But if I use this for a while, there will be times that
Turn right in 500 meters.
There'll be times when I really wish it wouldn't pause so much. Turn right when I'm in an intersection, and it says turn right in 500 meters. So I think so that little pause is a bit distracting. But again, you get used to that. information on the screen's a bit small for me. It does have an arrow coming up. It does have a distance.
Turn right.
So it does have a distance coming up to say how far I'm away. I think it's saying 17 metres now, but that is so small that it really doesn't help me. So I think the turn right with a pause, that pause is a little bit too long, because I am the sort of person that if you say turn right, I'll think it's immediate. So I would probably tend to turn before I should. And in actual fact, once I indicate and get into a right turn lane, if I'm in that lane, I won't then change and go straight ahead. If it's got a turn arrow, I'll actually follow the direction in the lane, because that's the type of nature of this beast, this person. Sad to say. But what's interesting is this lane, when you're in it, is to turn right, which is perfectly good. Now, once you're in the intersection, this is no longer a lane, and there is nothing to stop you from putting your indicator on and moving left. Now, people would think that that's wrong, but I have read, that I'm not sure where the information was, but there's nothing illegal about changing lanes in an intersection. And so you can't change, because of the solid white line as you approach the intersection, in Victoria at least. Not all states have the same markings on the roads, but in Victoria we have quite long white lines to separate it. So you're not supposed to cross that white line as you come up to the traffic lights. If you do, you're breaking the law. But once you cross over past that line, then... Oh, that was interesting. Frightened the daylights out of me. So once you cross the stop line, you can cross over into the other lane. So I personally think that's crazy, but that's just the way it is. So there's nothing to stop you if you're in the turn lane once you're into the intersection to actually put your indicator on and for a sufficient, as long as it's safe to do so, a sufficient period of time, and there's no specification of what that time should be, then there is no reason why you can't correct once you're in the intersection, which is silly, but that's just the way it is. And if I'm wrong, please correct me. I learn all the time, the slight intricacies of the law. I'm not a lawyer, I'm not a legal person. These are just things that I've learned over time, as we all do, and I get it wrong. I know I've been wrong in the past. So now that beep that you heard before, I won't be able to tell until I actually go back and review it, but I suspect that I was probably travelling close to or over the 60 kilometres an hour, and it beeped quite like a trumpet sound. So quite scared me and alerted me that I was doing something wrong. Now, I don't know what I was doing wrong, but it certainly when I review it, I'll have a look and see what I was actually doing wrong. I have set it to, in the settings, to be 5% above the speed limit, which is high, but it only gives me either exactly on the speed limit or 5% above or 5 kilometres above, I think it is. And I don't want, at 60, 5% gives me 3 kilometres. That's, to me, more than what I would actually want it to be. I don't want it to be more than 2 kilometres per hour above the speed limit.
Turn left in 500 metres.
I would like to actually sit roughly at or below the speed limit and driving at the speed suitable for the conditions. So but I don't have a choice to set it to 2 kilometres an hour above anything, so the options are a bit limited in my opinion, but still good enough, because
Turn left.
it's just 1 kilometre hour difference at 60, and certainly a little bit more at a higher speed, but it's still good enough, I think. So I have this belief, right or wrong, that first of all, we know the government tells us that the speed difference can be out by 2 or 3 kilometres an hour, or a percentage that's 3%, I think, above 100 kilometres an hour. So we know that, but that's their allowance for their equipment to be out. So if their equipment's out and you're going above the speed limit, you can be fined for speeding. But let's say their equipment now, so if we sort of said that there's 2 kilometres an hour, so we should be doing 60, but 2 kilometres an hour, 62. If their equipment is accurate, then that would allow us to do 62. Now, they're not going to want to book us for 61. So if they take
2 kilometres from your destination.
They're not going to want to book us for just 1 kilometre an hour over the speed limit or 2. That really makes the government look bad. So at the end of the day, I think that there's if you probably have to be doing 65 or 66. So people who complain that they're being booked for just over the speed limit, well, they're pushing it. Their speedo would be telling them they're doing close to 70 in a 60 zone. So overall, they know they're speeding. So it is low level, and in many cases, the questionable is how much it's bad in terms of safety.
1 kilometre from your destination.
So now this is pretty good, that it's actually counting down as it goes along. It's got the right speed. So overall, I think this has performed pretty well. I must admit, I'm surprised. So I might do another
Turn right in 500 metres.
Another test video of this one application called Navigator Free, if you want to look it up on the App Store.
500 metres from your destination.
Oh, counting down. Sounds exciting, doesn't it? So anyway, and
Turn right.
We'll drive past this and keep it going for a moment and then stop everything. So thank you again for joining me on
Turn
this trip
right.
today. I hope you've enjoyed the review of this particular application.
100 metres from your destination.
It did pretty well, so
Destination reached.
okay, so I'll just get away from this curve in the road, and we'll just come down here underneath these trees. Anyway, as I said, thank you very much for joining me. It really does help pass the time as I'm driving along, so thanks for making the time and effort to watch this video.